Hello, and welcome to the Online Strength Coach Podcast, episode 111, How to Be a Discerning Fitness Customer. So if you follow the Cast Iron Strength Facebook, you'll see that episode 24 of the Fat Man Ranting series, which is, if you're not aware, it's basically a 300 to 500 word blurb where I just kind of go off the dome and just say what I think on a subject. Sometimes it's tongue in cheek, sometimes it's more serious. But always it's truthful, or it relays my opinion on a topic. So the topic, or the rant today, was on the lack of professional standard within the training community on whole. So when I say the training community, talking about personal trainers, talking about fitness instructors, gym instructors, strength and conditioning coaches, CrossFit coaches, weightlifting coaches, powerlifting coaches, online coaches, basically anyone that's involved with the physical training of people, or anyone that is entrusted with the programming and delivery of physical training to anyone for any goal. So for me, this is a huge bugbear and something that I've spoken about before on this podcast, how there is no professional registry for strength and conditioning, which as a profession is completely ridiculous. There is no real barrier to entry. There's barrier to entry with jobs, but there's no, the word strength and conditioning coach is not a protected term. You can't just go out there and call yourself a physiotherapist. You will open yourself out to libel. You can't go out there and call yourself a doctor, because again, you open yourself up to libel suits. And there's good reason for that. Physiotherapy and medicine, they're both very detailed professions. They are ring posted for a reason, because it requires a lot of training, a lot of study, and a lot of experience to be able to do that profession in a safe and effective manner. It's basically there to protect the customer, especially with the likes of doctors, because there are mortal implications for some of those potential interactions. Now, with strength and conditioning, you might think, or even just for training in general, you might think it's only exercise, it's only some cardio or some weights. What's the downside? Why does it need to happen? Well, if you look at medicine as a profession, even as late as the 20s, late 1800s, early 1900s, doctor wasn't a protected title. Anyone could call themselves a doctor, or they had a made-up degree, or they went to a shit university where they can just pay for the diploma. It's kind of like that Dr. Gillian Keith, who's a doctor of nutrition. She paid a website to give her a doctorate. She has no doctorate, she's a complete sham, a complete fraud. Now within the medical profession, and a good example of this was J.D. Rockefeller's father. He was a doctor, basically a snake oil salesman, who would travel around towns, different states in the United States, and just sell remedies for cures. They would do outrageous things like sell concoctions that do nothing as cures for cancer, all kinds of ailments, pills and potions that were meant to be aids for various diseases, many of which were life-threatening. And this still goes on today with things like homeopathy, acupuncture, all of the quote-unquote complementary therapies, which are basically just bullshit being peddled to people. They're completely and utterly ineffective, because if they were effective, they would be treated as science, or they'd be treated as science-based medicine. Now within training, we're kind of in that time period, as in probably about 30, 40 years ago, it probably wasn't feasible to make a living training people. It might be feasible for a chosen few to be able to maybe train people or to open gyms and make a living that way. But all athletics were pretty much amateur. There wasn't really a profession, or there wasn't really any money to be made training people. That is not the case anymore. Now we have Within American football, within the college system, we have people earning $500,000 plus a year in US dollars. In professional sport in Europe, good SEC coaches can command salaries of upwards of 100k a year, up to 150k a year, depending on the club, depending on the sport, depending on how they're valued. Strength and conditioning coaches are the fitness coaches that are involved in physical preparation of athletes, physical preparation of team sports. They're an incredibly important cog in the machine. Coaches rely heavily on strength and conditioning coaches to get what they want from their athletes, to be able to condition them or prepare them to be able to produce the game or produce the performances that they envisage or that they want from their athletes. It's no longer good enough to just be a skilled player or a talented player or a talented athlete. Training is now to the point in elite sport where without the physical aspect of the training, you're not really going to go anywhere. You're not going to reach that top end of the elite. Now, some people can get by in certain levels, or some people can get by in skill to certain points. But as an aggregate, it's not possible now to become an elite or professional athlete without the input of a trainer. And also with sport, so lifting in general now is also hugely popular, and that popularity we can pretty much put down to CrossFit. Now, you can say what you want about CrossFit, but what it's done for strength sports, the popularity of strength sports in the last 10 years has been absolutely phenomenal. So now it's possible. There's no way in hell 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it would have been possible for an industry, a cottage industry within weightlifting or a cottage industry within powerlifting for online coaching to exist. There's just no fucking way. Within the UK, registered to the GBPF, there's probably less than 400 or 500 lifters when I started lifting, probably even less than that. And that's the main powerlifting federation within the UK. Now there are over 3,000 and marching on towards 4,000 and onwards and upwards. It's catching on with people. People realize they can do powerlifting, when you're older, maybe when you're not as fit, you can do it in your own time. There's a lot of attractive things to powerlifting that are drawing people towards it, which is fantastic. What is not fantastic, though, is this explosion in popularity of training, of strength training, of fitness training, has really fed the training industry. So now we have God knows how many CrossFit coaches in the UK. We have an explosion in the number of personal trainers. There's an explosion in the amount of online trainers. There's an explosion in the amount of people claiming to be strength conditioning coaches, and we have people putting on what they're calling strength conditioning certifications. You shouldn't be able to get a certification in strength conditioning. You should have to earn it. It's a vocation, much in the same way that physiotherapy, much in the same way that being a doctor is, or an engineer. It is a vocation. To earn the right of using that title, you should have to earn it through vocational means. So you should have to be a full-time professional strength conditioning coach for a certain amount of time. You have to join the professional registry, competency tests, have certain barriers to entry such as undergraduate degree, postgraduate degree in a relevant field, and these gateways kind of exist in the form of the NSCA, which is the National Strength Conditioning Association, which is the United States version. We have the UK SCA, which is the United Kingdom Strength Conditioning Association, which is the United Kingdom's body, and we have the Australian Strength Conditioning Association, the ASCA, which is the equivalent thereof in Australia. So we only have 3 major bodies worldwide that are currently offering some form of certification. But what they're not offering is they are not offering a register. UKSA have a register of accredited strength conditioning coaches, but it's not legally binding. And the UKSA is falling by the wayside because there's a lot of old and, quite frankly, outdated ideas on what strength conditioning is, what it takes to be a strength conditioning coach. So it's fallen by the wayside. So basically what there needs to be some kind of shift, or there needs to be some kind of upregulation in the quality of people, or some kind of barrier to entry, to ensure that there's a minimum competency ensured when you go and work with a CrossFit coach, when you go and work with a personal trainer, when you go and work with any kind of conditioning coach, trainer, athletic trainer, when you go and work with them in any form of capacity, you can rest safe with the knowledge that they have a very minimum level of ability. So I know we have reps, but reps is basically just a money-making scheme. You can become a Reps 3 certified personal trainer within 3 weekends, or what was practically like half a module of a university degree, which is completely fucking mental. You're talking about a profession or a little cottage industry where it is very feasible to earn upwards of 60k a year as a personal trainer who isn't very good, who's maybe better at the business side, maybe a much better business person than they are a trainer. And people will say that the training side of the business is incredibly important, that without a good product, you can't push it, you can't get anywhere in the profession or become huge in the profession. And this, to me, is putting far too much competency in the hands of the consumer. If you look at people's habits elsewhere in life, that is 100% not the case. Look at what they make from a dietary, the decisions they make from a dietary standpoint. You look at what are the most popular brands of mineral, or as we call in Northern Ireland, we call them minerals, soft drinks. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper. Are these the best available? As in, for a discerning customer, is that the best taste available? No, without question, it's not the best taste available. There are definitely better products out there. And those better products demand a premium, and that's market economics. You pay more for scarcity, or you pay more for quality. Quite a lot of the time, or almost all the time, because quality is scarce, and you pay for that scarcity, supply and demand. Within training, however, there's nothing to stop me charging £500 an hour and to say that I am the greatest trainer of all time. If I have credibility in my body, so if I look good, of course, to look good, all we need is a calorie deficit applied for a long enough time, and steroids. Anyone can look good with it. With those two things by their side. Now, you're not going to look like Ronnie Coleman. You're not going to become Mr. Olympia. You're not going to get your pro card potentially, but you're going to look good. People are going to look at you if you're disciplined enough for your diet. You have some form of training ethic, and you take the right substances. You will look good. And from that, people will infer that you're competent. You may be competent at getting yourself in a certain condition, competent to make yourself look a certain way, but you probably aren't, or chances are you're not competent in training others. Training yourself and training another person are two completely disparate things. You might think that because you understand training yourself, that you know how to train Billy or Jonah or Sarah or Kai or whoever it is you're training. Everyone come from different backgrounds, they have different levers, they have different psychologies, they have different goals. The amount of variability, or the amount of potential permutations to someone is infinite. It's completely infinite. And that's why within the 7 billion plus people we have on the planet, not two are the same. Even identical twins differ on some form or on some levels, and they are literally fucking close to each other. So what I'm trying to say is, it's training people isn't just something you can do. So like, I want to be a personal trainer because I hate my job, so I'm going to go and do my weekend cert and then I can do it. Because currently that's exactly what it is. It's absolutely fucking mental. It should take years of training to get to the point where you can charge someone what is like even at what is a common rate, or probably the base rate within the UK for personal training services, about £30 per hour. And maybe it goes down to about £20 per hour, £50 per hour for certain training packages or certain people or people who are maybe trying to undercut or trying to do more volume, between 20 and 30 pounds per hour is still multiples of the national minimum wage. So if you've spent £1,000, went and done a weekend cert, maybe over 5 or 6 weekends, you become a Reps 3 personal trainer, or you're a YMCA personal trainer in the States, or whatever the equivalent is in your country. What the fuck gives you the right to earn 3 times the national minimum wage in what is a skilled profession? You're not skilled. You're a complete and utter fucking scrub off the street who's decided to do a certification and, earn a decent living. And like from a philosophical standpoint, I have no problem with that. Well, maybe not. But you can't. It's currently legal to do so. It's currently possible to do so. So in many instances, you'd be a fucking idiot not to do it. To go and earn a much better living for yourself doing a job that's varied, fun, you enjoy. That's not saying that all personal trainers are shit, because obviously there are hundreds and thousands of personal trainers out there that do an absolutely fantastic job, that change people's lives, that get great results, that have degrees, they are qualified, they've been training people for years, they get fantastic results. Obviously these people exist, but they are the minority within the industry. The vast majority of people are underqualified, underexperienced to be doing the job they're doing, and to be commanding the rate they are doing as well. However, that's the market, and the market's willing to pay that, so it is what it is. Like it or not, you can't really do anything about it. And then the whole next thing, so what set me off on this, and I've kind of not really addressed it yet because I kind of went off on a tangent. What brought this about was someone sent me a video of someone coaching a PE class of, they were high school kids, maybe 12, 13 years of age, teaching them CrossFit, but they were doing within a circuit. They were doing medicine ball slams and clean and jerk in a circuit fashion. The movement was absolutely dog shit. They obviously had been shown how to do a clean about 10 minutes ago and shown maybe once or twice. They didn't understand what they're doing. The movement was terrible. They were ragging it. They weren't efficient. They were just basically wearing themselves down, wearing themselves into the ground in a circuit training class, which is what CrossFit is. Now, there's not anything wrong with kids doing strength training, doing weightlifting, doing powerlifting, and in the correct circumstances with a coach CrossFit. It's also for kids to do these things. Strength training is really good for kids. However, you can see things like there's a powerlifting video that's been doing the rounds. Some 8-year-old kid doing a deadlift with fucking shit technique. That's shit. I don't want to see a kid doing that. I don't want to see a kid picking up a weight that they're not capable of picking up with correct technique, because that teaches bad habits, doesn't teach them respect for the sport, and ultimately you're putting them at danger. You're putting them at risk of injury, which is not something you should be doing, especially in strength sports where we can control every fucking variable. We can control the weight you put on the bar, how you lift it, how you communicate it, the reps you do, the sets you do, the volume you do. We control everything in this environment. There are absolutely no fucking excuses for you to be taking risks or for you to be taking liabilities with people's health, basically. You can seriously fucking hurt someone within a lifting environment. All you need to do is look back 3 or 4 years, or I can't remember the guy's name, but Jar or something or other, when he was doing a CrossFit WOD and he was snatching and he dropped it behind him. Some dickhead had put plates on the platform, bar shot back into him, severed his spine. Now a fucking paraplegic. Because he was doing a skilled movement with a considerable amount of weight in an unsafe environment where someone had just like scattered weights everywhere, and now he's a fucking paraplegic. There's no way that should happen. With a safe lifting space, the clear platform, under a non-fatigue state where he's paying attention to his technique, or if the intensity is up and he can apply the correct intensity because he's not overworked, he's not tired, he's not fatigued from working his cardiovascular system rather than working the aspects he should be working in a weightlifting environment, which are his neuromuscular coordination, his muscular effort, his rate of force production, his skill, his finesse. And in the correct environment, that'll never fucking happen. Ever. Worst thing that might happen is you might dislocate a shoulder or get some kind of gross injury, which happens in sport, but the instances of which within weightlifting and powerlifting are incredibly small when compared to other sports. Minute. But what we have though is we have someone who is completely not qualified, maybe done a weekend cert somewhere, definitely not qualified weightlifting coach, who is taking a class of kids through circuit training with external resistance, improper technique. Sure, it's innocuous now, but these habits apply with enough time, with enough freedom of movement, and with the lack of duty of care of the environment, people are going to get hurt. They will get hurt. I know you can say people get hurt doing sport all the time, and it's unavoidable in some sports, within soccer, within American football, within rugby, people are going to get injured. It's a chaotic sport. It's going to happen. Powerlifting, weightlifting, and CrossFit as well. They are not chaotic sports. They are planned, precision sports. They are longevity sports. There is no reason for anyone to get injured outside of a freak accident or just wear and tear training. You will get injured from powerlifting, you will get injured from weightlifting, and you will get injured from CrossFit. There's no question about it. However, the incidences and severity of those risks are much less than other popular sports. Unless it's not supervised by a qualified professional. There isn't thought, there isn't duty of care that goes into the planning of the sessions. There isn't someone behind the scenes, someone with experience, someone with knowledge to pull together the training, to put it in such a way where recovery is allotted for. They understand fitness fatigue, they understand compensation, they understand supercompensation. They understand how energy systems work. They understand how to order sessions in such a way where someone is not doing a cardiovascularly highly demanding, highly fatiguing activity and then entering into some form of high force, high skill activity such as snatch, where the likelihood of them getting injured is greatly increased. So for me, and this is something I'm definitely going to try to do later in my existence when I have achieved some of my goals from a business point of view. So we need a professional register, we need protected terms, we need barriers to entry. Because currently it's snake oilsman, it's the Wild West, and it's a complete and utter clusterfuck. Something needs to be done about it. So that's something I intend to do in the next few years. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Mark. This is the Online Strength Coach Podcast. If you've enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you'd like to leave a comment, question below, please do so in the YouTube comments. If you'd like to send me a question but don't want to leave a comment, don't want it to be public, then please shoot me an email to speedpowerperformance@gmail.com with this 24-minute tirade of how shit people are training you. If you want to hire me as an online strength coach, bring yourself over to onlinestrengthcoach.com, fill in the application form, and I'll get back to you in due course. Thank you very much for listening. I've been Mark, and I'll catch you in the next Online Strength Coach Podcast. Goodbye.